Beste DenkTank-luisteraar, welkom bij deze speciale editie van DenkTank, de podcast. We nemen deze uitzendingen op vanaf Amsterdam Business Forum in Amerslive. Ik ben Hans Jansen en ik ben vandaag niet de host. Dat zijn Christ Kolen en Jesse Geul. Zij gaan in gesprek met een aantal sprekers net nadat ze van het podium zijn gekomen op Amsterdam Business Forum. En je hoort nog een stukje audio van hun talk. Veel plezier bij DenkTank, de podcast vanaf Amsterdam Business Forum.
A cup of latte became my resilient tool. Imagine that you can't warm your breakfast and then you go to your neighborhood coffee shop. You buy hot latte warmed up by generators. And for me, it was a kind of helpline to normalcy.
Helping leaders and professionals of the Netherlands and beyond to become even better at their work. That's what we're trying to achieve at DenkTank, the podcast of DenkProducties. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Christ Kolen, host of the show, and I'm here together with co-host Jesse Geul. We are broadcasting from Amsterdam Business Forum 2023, the biggest leadership conference of the Netherlands. Our guest for this show is a woman from Ukraine. Her name is Maryna Saprykina. She is CEO of CSR Ukraine, a non-profit expert organization in corporate social responsibility. She is the founder of Ukrainian Women's Entrepreneurs Hub, and she's also the winner of the Speaker Contest 2023. Due to the war in Ukraine, Maryna has witnessed at first hand the resilience of Ukrainian businesses in times of war. This is also what inspired her winning speech, Sustainability at Times of War. Maryna, welcome to our show.
Hello.
My first question to you is, why did you decide to join the speaker contest?
Last year, when I returned from Vienna, where I had flew before, after the full-fledged invasion, I started talking to many Ukrainian companies about sustainability. And it was a bit weird to talk about sustainability in times of war. But then when we started studying what Ukrainian companies did, we understood how brave they were and what a great job they have already done. And at the end of last year, I made a wish to tell about Ukrainian business to many people at different events. And it was my New Year wish. And then in January, I came across the public announcement about the speaker contest. And I thought that it could be a door to my wish. And I decided to take a part. But it was quite hard winter in Ukraine because 50% of Ukraine's energy infrastructure was destroyed. And we had power cuts. And I recorded my video because it was just the first step to send recording to the speaker contest. And I made my recording between power cuts. And then I was qualified for semifinal. And again, it was on 8th of March. And it was quite interesting because Russians always like such kind of dates. And I was not sure whether air raid alert could be or not. And I also talked before about this with organizers, and they were very kind. They said, if something happened, we will move you to another semifinal, which could be on another day. Russians made their attack, but day after, on 9th of March. So, and I was qualified for final on 8th of March. And then it was final in May.
Mm-hmm. It's a long trip you made.
Exactly. And actually today is September. It's 9 months trip.
Yeah. And what was it in this dream you had to tell about Ukraine business? What ingredient was there that you thought this is something the world needs to hear?
Several times concept was changed, but the one key point was about bravery of Ukrainian businesses, because I talked to many businessmen and businesswomen in Ukraine and asked them why you are still here. Because, okay, they have a lot of opportunities and resources to go somewhere and to develop their businesses from other countries. And many of them answered me, because it's my land, because it's our country, and we should do whatever we can for the country. And that's why I think it's such a great thing in this bravery that I wanted to tell about. But also I wanted to tell about sustainability, and it was the topic of my speech, because I think it's a kind of weird a bit to tell about sustainability in times of war. But they did a lot of things. And now, today, I'm going to tell about resilience. And actually, I think it's extreme resilience, which was demonstrated by Ukrainian business. And that's why I also think that such kind of extreme resilience could be learned in many business schools.
So you decided to use the negative for something good.
There are always good and bad things, and actually, it's a learning process. And I think that now companies in Ukraine, they learned how to be resilient. And in our uncertain times, many businesses should learn such kind of strategies.
And your talk is about a 5-component wartime sustainability model. For the people who will not see you or have not seen you on stage, can you tell our listeners something about your model?
I told you already that my concept has been changed several times. And talking about the leadership in chaos, I think that it's more appropriate to tell about resilience. And sustainability is one of the components of resilience. So today I'm going to tell about 5 components of resilience, where we have one component which is about the big objective.
Yeah.
And I think it's linked to sustainability a lot, because for Ukrainian companies, both small and large, the big objective is to help Ukraine win. And they do a lot for this. And our companies, for example, after the full-fledged invasion, they paid taxes in advance. They united with competitors to make a great project for Ukraine. They provided pro bono services for our government, because it's about victory of Ukraine. It's about contribution to victory. So that's why such kind of resilience through sustainability is very necessary now in Ukraine, but not only in Ukraine, because now we have so many unpredictable external shocks with results we haven't anticipated. For example, the floods in Libya, the earthquakes in Morocco, in Turkey, and businesses should be prepared, but not only businesses, but also individuals, because organizational resilience is built on individual resilience. And as I know now from my personal experience that resilience could be trained.
Can you tell us a bit more about how you think about the training of resilience?
Well, because I remember myself after the full-fledged invasion, I just cried every day because I couldn't understand how such things could happen in today's world. But now, when there is a kind of attacks, we just waiting when it is finished and go to work. But usually now it's during our during our sleep, during night. So it means that very often Ukrainians do not sleep for 3-4 hours because of air raid alerts and rockets and drones. But every morning at 9 or at 10, we are at the meeting and we continue doing our work. And for me, the most important thing was to see this big objective, first of all, because we believe in victory and it gives us inspiration and motivation to work, but also to find my own resilient tool. And during this hardest winter, we had it was winter when 50% of Ukrainians' energy infrastructure was destroyed, and we were in blackouts, with power cuts. I understood that a cup of latte became my resilient tool. Because just imagine that you are in cold apartment, you can't warm your breakfast, and then you go to your neighborhood coffee shop, you buy hot latte warmed up by generators. And for me, it was a kind of helpline to normalcy. And it was my resilient tool because, okay, it meant for me that time that everything should be okay. And we should work, we should live, and we could come back to the normal life.
So it's a symbol for normalism.
Yes, that time it was symbol for normalism. And now, even when I have my latte cup, I always think about this. And sometimes in difficult times, for me, it's a kind of revival. And that's why if we want to be resilient, we also people also could find about some resilient tool. And for me, it could be a physical object. And actually, you remember that, for example, during wars, for example, women use red lipstick more. So it's also a kind of resilient tool. But also when a child cries, we usually give him or her a toy. And for a child, it's also a kind of resilient tool. So yeah, it could resilience could be trained, and perhaps for some people, a cup of latte also could become a resilient tool.
You come here to talk and, of course, tell about the resilience of a lot of companies. And is there something in particular that you're hoping to achieve, like a way we can contribute or somehow?
First of all, I would like to share these lessons Ukrainian companies have, because I think they are amazing. And I would like just to tell you one example, which I really love. We have Good Wine. Good Wine is a wine distributor from Ukraine. And after the beginning of the full-fledged invasion, they lost 15 million euro because their warehouse with 1.6 million bottles was ruined with a Russian rocket. But there was 2% of bottles left. And they started to sell it under the title bottles that wine that survive. And I think it's also about resilience, but actually their customers ask for this kind of bottles and would like to buy them. So for them, it was also a kind of a symbol of resilience. It's one message. And the second, sure, I would like to deliver my message that the war in Ukraine is still going on and it still continues. And it's very important to support Ukraine because it's not only Ukrainian war, it's the war in Europe. It's the most brutal war in Europe since the Second World War. So that's why it's very important to think about military help, and I know that Netherlands support a lot. Ukraine also, it's very important to work together with Ukrainian businesses to buy Ukrainian goods because in Ukraine market is not so big now, and a lot of Ukrainians, 8 million Ukrainians now left after the full-fledged invasion because of war. And sure, I really believe in supporting Ukrainian women entrepreneurs, and actually Dutch government is one of our donors. And I think to buy products of Ukrainian women entrepreneurs is also very important.
Yeah, I can imagine. And as you were talking, I was like, okay, that's actually a thing I want to do. But do you maybe have like a tip, or is there an easy way for us to do that? Because I don't know where to find these products, for instance. Do you have any tips on that front?
Yes, for example, for Ukrainian women entrepreneurs, we are going to launch a new campaign where you can easily support us, but also we have United 24, and this is a national like helpline, and where you can donate to any cause you want. And many Hollywood stars are like ambassadors of this platform, so it's also quite easy way. But also there are a lot of Ukrainians here in the Netherlands, because they can't come back because their houses are destroyed. They do not have anything where to live. So that's why it's very important to work with them as well, and perhaps to make some projects for them to tell about their stories as well, and to tell about the stories of Ukrainian businesses, taking into account what you are doing.
Yeah. And you are also founder of the Ukrainian Women's Entrepreneurs Hub. Why did you start that, and what is your drive behind that initiative?
You remember I told you about the big objective, and for me it is a big objective. And when I came back from Vienna, it was my big dream to start this project, because when I was in Vienna, in Austria, I understood that it's terribly horrible to live as a migrant, as a refugee, because you are losing all your social contacts. And that's why at that moment I started thinking how I can help Ukrainian women and myself to resume the social contacts. And sure, it will be very difficult to think about some kind of employment, because for employment, a person needs language. But to learn new language is not just 3 months. It's not just
It's
one
not an
year.
easy language. No.
And that's why I started thinking about entrepreneurship, because it's very easy to register online, even in Ukraine, or even if you are abroad. That's why I came home and we started this project first from scratch with no resources and staff. But now we have 12 people working on this project for offline hubs. We have already trained 500 women entrepreneurs, and 30% of those who didn't have their business before, they register their business during our program.
Nice.
So this is an initiative, a project that fits within the bigger topic of resilience, because entrepreneurship is also a form of resilience, I guess.
That's true, but it also fits into the big objective, because a lot of Ukrainian men, they are at the front line, and women started taking care of their families, and not only for their kids, but also for family members, and also breadwinners. That's why it's a great investment in women economic empowerment.
And what kind of things do you learn these women about this topic? What does the training look like?
We have 2 kinds of programs, online and offline. And for example, online program is for young women, and so they could join from any corner of the world, even from the Netherlands, from Ukraine, from Canada, etc. Offline program is only for women who sometimes they are displaced in 4 communities, and we work very closely with community members and with municipalities to help them to start the businesses. And this online program is for 2 months, and offline programs is for 3 weeks. But also one of the most important components of this program is psychological support. And we see how important it is. And actually all our programs in CSR Ukraine now includes psychological component, because one of the most important, one of the most critical fear among our women is a fear to start the business. And that's why we help them together with psychologists, together with facilitators, with trainers, with mentors, how to do it.
Nice, very nice. One personal question. What's it like for you to be in the Netherlands or in Finland or in Norway while your country is at war?
It's difficult because sometimes, for example, to get here, it's not very easy. In Ukraine, we do not have any airports, and the trip could take up to 24 hours, especially if there are some queues at the borders. But it's very important to come here and to deliver the message I wanted. And that's why when you ask me whether I'm nervous, yes, I'm nervous because it's not only about me, it's about my country, it's about businesses, and it's about people.
Yes. So there are more than 1,000 leaders and professionals waiting for your talk. After you leave the stage, what is something that you hope they will take away from your talk?
There are several messages. First, again, resilience is very important, and it's better to get prepared for this today in the peaceful time. The second, it's unbelievable how resilient is Ukrainian business. And it will be very good to have a kind of exchange of experience between Dutch businesses and Ukrainian businesses. And number 3, it's about values. I really would love Dutch businesses think about their values in terms of these external shocks, and war against Ukraine is a litmus test for many companies and many values, because companies should stop cooperating with Russia. And if they are still there, it means that their taxes support the war against Ukraine. So that's why I can't believe in such kind of values. And for me, it's a big discrepancy. And if companies, after today's event, start a discussion of where they are, whether they have some kind of due diligence when they choose their supplier, and to see the links between Russia or Belarus, for me, it will be a good result of this work.
It's a very, very clear messages. I'm a bit moved. I feel by your talk already. So I hope you will bring that emotion to the big stage. I wish you a lot of strength, a lot of power, and of course a lot of resilience. And keep spreading your message. Thank you very much for your time here.
Thank you.
And now, dear listeners, we'll switch to the main stage and we will listen to some fragments from Maryna from the stage of Amsterdam Business Forum.
The next wagon is about your people and families. I'm sure your HR strategies are impeccable. But what about mental health issues? Currently, 1 billion people have mental health issues, and it costs global economy $1 trillion per year. For Ukraine, it's a big issue because there isn't any single family which has remained safe during this war. And that's why Ministry of Health think that 15 million of Ukrainians will need mental health care. So our companies do a lot of activities to address mental health issues. For example, they establish a specific psychological department within the company, or they conduct workshops for managers to help them to cope up with the mental health issues, for them to pass on this knowledge to their employees. And also for Ukrainian companies, employees and their families are internal stakeholders. So that's why all programs of assistance, including psychological one, also apply to families. And also, Ukrainian companies have established children's rooms in the offices to address safety issues. Globally, such kind of approach is called care economy. In Ukraine, it's a reality economy. And such kind of actions can foster trust of your employees and decrease the depression. So please think about one concrete action in terms of mental health care, and on your return home, try to implement it. Because in the era of anxiety, your employees and their families need you as a caring employer.
Thank you for listening to this episode of DenkTank, the podcast from DenkProducties. This conversation was recorded on Amsterdam Business Forum, the biggest leadership event in the Netherlands. The 2024 edition of Amsterdam Business Forum will be held on the 27th of September and will host fabulous speakers as Adam Grant and Brené Brown. For more information, go to DenkProducties.nl. For now, thanks again for listening and don't forget to subscribe. Hope to see you next time.